Hey gamers, welcome to HYPED4's channel. My name is Halil and today we'll be reviewing the game Mighty No.9. Next year, the 30th anniversary of Mega Man will be celebrated, and one of the most iconic and beloved characters has left us short, but that came with an intense history of video games. Despite of the importance of this date, Capcom leads for years without offering a new title starring the embattled robot. Keiji Inafune, a top executive and producer of the series for years, knew what the fans' expectations were and how difficult it would be to meet these expectations. After leaving Capcom, he decided to kickstart a project and attempt Mighty No.9, a similar game as a classic Mega Man with similar gameplay. However, characters and its own universe has changed. The fundraising was a success, which raised nearly $4 million, although problems soon arrived in what was probably one of the most rugged developments of recent times. Many delays, changes in plans, and a game which appeared rather lower in quality than expected. The project ended rather in disappointment than in the excitement that it brought initially. Well, that all being said, we will now let you know about our thoughts in regards to the game. Firstly, we would like to make clear that this game is based on a 2D platform, which involves action and classic gameplay. You will have to go through a series of challenges at different levels in order to proceed to the next level. There are all sorts of traps and obstacles, as well as enemies that are coming your way to stop you from reaching the final of each level. Each boss will give us new and useful powers to defeat enemies. The story is set in the future where technology is much more evolved to a point where robots have their own consciousness and are built to serve and entertain humanity. A big tragedy happens and they all get out of control and decide to disobey their masters, except BECK, our protagonist, who is asked to have his brothers return to sanity. He will be directed by his creator, who will supervise him. The script itself is not very important since the main story is quite predictable. The characters could have been exploited a bit more and the cinematic are not the greatest. We believe that there could have been more detail. We felt that there was more potential in these areas. That being said, storyline was not always the most important topic in these type of games. There was more effort put into the controls of the game. They were kept simple and responsive. You will be able to jump, shoot, and you will be able to change weapons as you could in any type of Mega Man. You can also propel yourself forward in small sprints, which you can basically abuse both on land and in the air. Besides the extra mobility that adds more dynamism to the game, this ability will allow you to absorb the enemy's essence. This move will come in handy to defeat bosses and enable you to move through certain sections of the game. One thing that we really appreciated was how challenging the game itself was. You have to give it all at times to avoid the game over screen. The main difficulty weren't the enemies, but the traps and elements that are in your way. They're capable of ending the game. The bosses are, as in many classic games, quite easy to figure out since they all have patterns. But in this game, they gain strengths and new attacks in mid-battle which you will have to adjust for. There are 12 levels to complete the adventure and it took us about 5 to 6 hours to complete. The amount of time that you will need will depend on your skill set and how often you have to try to get through each level. You will be pleased with the replayability of the game since there are different game modes such as challenges, online career, cooperative, and boss rush. Also, there are 2 different difficulty settings in the very beginning. Furthermore, you can try to get the maximum range for each phase by trying to get all points to be higher up on the online leaderboard. The graphics, in our opinion, could be much more polished and it feels that this is the weakest link of all. They're extremely simple and the effects and scenarios are quite unspectacular. You can tell that there wasn't much effort put into this area. You would expect graphics like this from a console like PlayStation 2. The sound effects go by rather unnoticed without any climax during the gameplay. You might notice during the gameplay versus the bosses that there are some differences in sound, but that's about it. In conclusion, Mighty No.9 is an entertaining game that is based on very basic graphics and sound effects, but then fun factor can be very high at times due to the very well adjusted difficulty level. You will also be motivated by the fact that you have to collect points to move up the leaderboard. If you compare it to the legendary Mega Man, you might be a bit disappointed, but if you put Mega Man aside, it will be more bearable. Give it a try and make your own opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, stay hyped for.